Joe, am I in the right meeting?
Yes, you are. All set
Okay. So we're staying on this. I'm staying on this call.
for the rest of the
throughout
night. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Dave and Christine, you guys are all set whenever you're ready to go.
Okay.
All right, meeting called to order. Today is Tuesday, February 16th. It is now 7 PM. Town Council meeting via Zoom.
I am going to do the roll call on this meeting then, since we didn't do it on the previous. Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay. Roll call, Council President Goslin,
Here.
Council Vice President D'Amico,
Yeah.
Councilman Messier,
Here.
Councilman Licciardi,
Here.
Councilwoman Williamson.
Here.
Participating communities, Town of Coventry, Town of Situate, City of Cranston, City of Warwick, Town of West Greenwich. We have a quorum on record. Minutes of the January 19th, 2021 Sewer Commission meeting resolution.
I'd like to make
Resolved.
a motion. But as far as the minutes go, I'd like to make a motion to table the minutes.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second. Yes.
This is to table the minutes of the meeting, and that was the next thing that we were talking about, right, Christine? I know you were
Yes.
starting to read it, but
Yes, correct.
I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi?
Motion to table. Is that what we're voting on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Councilman Messier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson?
Here. Yes. Here.
Here.
Yes.
Councilman D'Amico?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Okay. Reports. Plant Managers Report. Jeff Chapdelaine is going to read Jeff, you're muted. There you go.
How about now?
Perfect.
All right. So just so everyone knows, Harrison's going to be out for a little bit. So I'm going to be the interim or acting, superintendent until he returns. So it's my first time at this, so be gentle on me. Okay. And here we go. Average daily flow was 6.8 million gallons a day. Max daily flow was 10.9 million gallons per day. Minimum daily flow is 4.9 million gallons a day. CBOD percent removal was 98%, and total suspended solids removal was 98%, which is much higher than DM requirements. So in the wastewater world, we're happy about that. Let's see, total nitrogen is monitor only currently in the permanent off season. Our total phosphorus limit is 1.0. The facility achieved a 0.33 milligrams per liter, which is great. Sludge, wet tons to Synagro was 481.68 tons. Sludge and dry tons to Synagro was 112.95 tons. Wet tons to the landfill were 31.50, and dry tons to the landfill were 6.93. Wet tons in total were 513.18 tons. Dry tons in total were 119.88 tons. As far as the collection system, with sewer backups, the public line had 2 at Patuxent Terrace and Hepburn Street. Private lines had 6 backups, including Providence Street, Silverwood and Cold Spring, Phoenix Ave, Home Street, and Astor Street. And it looks like there was 0 odor complaints and 0 facility violations.
Any questions for Jeff?
No, but
Yep.
should we formally introduce Jeff since he was just sort
Yeah.
of thrown into us? So I apologize, Jeff, we probably should have spoken up to say, welcome. Jeff started as assistant superintendent at the plant 2 weeks ago, maybe?
No, almost a month, about.
Oh, you're a seasoned veteran. Never mind then. It should be easy for you. Okay. Well,
Actually,
welcome aboard.
Hello, everybody.
Happy to have you.
Thank you.
I got to meet Jeff at the last meeting at the sewer subcommittee meeting, and so far so good.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Jeff, welcome aboard, and good luck.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Any questions?
Jeff,
for
I have a question, which I did not ask at the subcommittee meeting, and I apologize. And you may or may not know. I know we've, in the past, we've had to bring a lot of the sludge to the landfill. And we do have a contract with Synagro. So I'm just trying to figure out, I know they're the only place to bring the sludge to besides the landfill. However, are we being turned away from Synagro because they're too full or they're not open? It just seems like we're every time there's a report, we're constantly bringing things to Johnston and most likely paying a lot more money. If you
That is a good
don't
question.
know, that's fine.
I
if you could check
know,
into
I
it.
believe it was in February that we did have to send a couple of loads to the landfill because Synagro was down and not accepting loads. So I believe it was the end of, or the beginning of last week and a couple of days the prior week before. I know it's in February, so I can't really speak too much on January. But I know on occasion,
Okay.
if the incinerator goes down or they have too much sludge for processing at Synagro, that we will get sent to the landfill.
Jason, I will help Jeff put together, as we were beginning the year when we were reporting the sludge, as what the percentage is going to the landfill. Because in the budget, there is a certain percentage of cost and tonnage that is associated with disposal at the landfill. So in the next subcommittee meeting and subsequent sewer commission meetings, I'll make sure that Jeff and I will talk about it to make sure that the percentage going to the landfill is identified and that percentage going to Synagro, and to see if, based on the report that we prepared earlier, if we're on track to send the correct volume to Synagro and the correct volume to the landfill.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Next, we have the industrial pretreatment program report.
Good evening, everybody. This is for the month of January, the industrial pretreatment. This month, Rhodes Technology, Amtrol, Immunex, Bradford Soap, and Warwick Ice Cream all submitted their quarterly self-monitoring reports. The New England Testing Laboratories, Ethia Labs, Cal Chemical, Dryvet, and Rhodes Technology at 500 Washington Street, and Rhodes Pharmaceutical submitted their semi-annual self-monitoring reports. All of the reports we received were in compliance with the permit limits. During the month of January, there was some cleaning of private lines. The first is the semi-annual cleaning of the Cohesive Corners sewer lines, both the system, force main, and pumping stations. In our examination in the cleaning, everything was found to be in good condition. Similarly, the Woolahoosian private line was also cleaned. This services the Marketplace Center. The line was found to be in good condition. There was a few areas of grease buildup, but we were able to, since we do this semi-annually, we were able to take care of this without any major interruptions in wastewater flow. With regards to the food service industries, there were 6 restaurants that were inspected. All were in compliance with the exception of Zen Kitchens. As we visited them this month, the facility did not have a wastewater permit application. Our inspection showed that one of the grease recovery devices were not functioning and the second one had not been cleaned. The owner was instructed to submit an application. As of the end of January, we did not receive any applications from Zen Kitchens. With regards to the maintenance and repair facilities, these are the facilities that are located mostly at Inskip Motors and their complex. All of these facilities were found to be in general compliance with the regulations. New permits were issued for His Fruits of Coventry, China Star, and Wise Guy Deli located on Cohasset Avenue in West Warwick. The program continues to work with the testing lab going in at 153 James P. Murphy Highway. This month, the company had hired an engineer to review the existing design requirements and modify the facility to come in compliance with the regulations. Next month, we anticipate the submission from this facility. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim.
Okay, the Director of Administration report. Year-to-date operating and debt expenses for fiscal year 21 as of January 31st totaled $5,380,889, which is 58% of the annual budget. Fiscal year 21 sewer usage collections through January 31st totaled $4,527,439, which is 66% of the total billed. Of the total collected, 71,379 represents interest. Fiscal year 21 sewer assessment collections through January 31st totaled $287,447, which is 104% of the total billed. Of the total collected, 1,708 represents interest. Cash and investments through January 31st totaled $3,234,550. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Christine? Thank you, Christine.
Christine, how's the budget coming? Have you started working on that?
I've started on the more of the template. I've made some phone calls. I've been in touch with Pat from Synagro. She's working on something for us that I'm hoping to talk to the subcommittee at the next meeting, which, I'll discuss it once I get something from her, because they come up for one more year renewal in July 1st. So we have to make a decision on what we're going to do with that. So it's going. Jeff's going to jump in with me. We had a conversation today, and we're going to work together on a lot of things. So.
Okay.
Christine,
Thank
nice
you.
job on the charts that you provided, the visuals
you.
for the budgets, for the administration report.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Okay, we'll go to old business, Providence Street private sewer line pricing.
Yes, I had this put on the agenda. It was on the sewer subcommittee. I actually attended the sewer subcommittee, and Mary Beth stepped aside so I can, so we didn't have a quorum there as a council. I spoke to the whole committee, Jim, Jeremiah, Harrison, Jeff, and we discussed what went on there from day one till now. The town did perform work on the property. It was discussed that we did the work in the manhole, and there was some damage done to a resident's home there due to us working on that property. And then we got into the fact of the sewer line, and and we've received pictures as a council of the sewer line, which was very hard to read or understand or even look at. Some of us thought it was a sonogram. So with that being said, we talked about fixing the problem once and for all for the two residents, Pamela Padula, who's the owner of the 2-family or 3-family house, and Ilda Nielsen, who had the original damage done and it was paid for by the trust to the actual property. So what we had done, and Jeff, I know I asked, it took over 3 weeks to get it going, and I know Jeff made a phone call next morning after that meeting and got our emergency person down there. And they given us a quote on to replace the main portion of the main from Pamela Padula's property down to the manhole that's at Ilda's Nielsen's property, and 2 laterals and 2 backflows, and it came up with a price of around $7,650. And Harrison provided that to us within 24 hours of that meeting. So after further discussion, there was more discussion about who's going to pay for the landscaping, the loom, seed, and the finish. And I discussed this with the 2 homeowners, and they feel that they have no problem taking care of the finish work if we're going to fix the sewer line. Also, what would need to be done is, and Tim, this would be on you, to put some sort of agreement together that the town will not be responsible for the line once we fix what could have or could not have been caused by the town. So again, we're going to fix what we think we caused, and the residents are going to take care of the landscaping. Christine, you have an account that is for emergency services, correct? And that's where it would be coming out of?
Yes, correct.
And so what I'm looking for is the council to approve this. And then we can honestly say we have resolved all the issues over there as far as the town is concerned, and that we should not be working on private property or backyards anymore from going forward. And I understand the department has always been very cordial on trying to resolve the homeowners' problems, but this is what gets us into these situations. So I'm just looking to resolve it once and for all, and it's looking to be around an $8,000 fix. So I'm just looking for the council's approval to have the sewer department move forward.
So a couple of questions. The 7650 includes what, David? I'm sorry.
It's and Jeff, you can keep me honest here. That's the main from Mrs. Padula's property, the lateral to both properties, and a backflow valve on both properties.
And we're paying for the backflow because
that's where we said we'll take care of that because of the minor expense, and they were going to take care of the loom and seed and the top dressing and all that, the residents. So it was either that or we take care of the loom and seed and top dressing. So it was just more of a compromise.
I think it's easier for us to be once and done with this situation. We take care of the backflow and the clean out, and then they can worry about, seeding, as David said, when springtime arises.
so as long as any agreement, I think we on a regular basis, and Jim, you can correct me, but we have backflow issues and people have to install backflows. We want to make sure that this doesn't become, so this has to be part of this agreement for that, this particular case. And how many feet? I think originally, didn't we say it was about 1,000 feet of that pipe, the entire pipe?
Yeah, that was the
private line?
entire pipe from the top of Providence Street down.
So how much,
I don't think-
how much are we replacing?
Jeff, what is it? I think
About 150 feet is what we'll be replacing, or I
Okay.
should say Nunes will be replacing.
And there's no issue with whatever we're gonna attach. So the other 850 feet, they'll work together well?
Yes, and normally what we will do is we'll put, the contractor knows what to do, but there are connections that'll make a transition coupling between the existing AC pipe, and which I believe is AC pipe, to PVC. They make transition couplings as long as it's put on correctly, which we'll have inspected, the town will have inspectors there, and secured. We should have no problem, because from Mrs. Padula's property moving uphill, we have not had any issues to my knowledge. Christine, have we had any problems with the residents? No, so most of it has
No.
been focused down the last two connections. So we are going to look at the slope. If for any reason the slope is not adequate, then we might make an adjustment to the manhole that we're tying into. Right now, the proposed work is to connect, let's say, at the beginning of Mrs. Padula's property, going 150 feet to the manhole, connecting into the existing manhole. As long as the slope is correct, then we won't have any backup issues.
Jeff, I think Rick mentioned that it did. Didn't we ask him that question? And he said that the slope worked fine. It wasn't going to be an issue.
Perfect.
We checked out the slope.
And that eliminates the manhole replacement.
We
Yeah, I
should be
remember
good.
you had asked that question before, Jim. That's why.
Right,
Yeah, and
okay, great.
and the other concern was getting the machinery in the back property, and I think Jeff, the neighbor's fence could actually come down and be put right back up. Is that the way he was looking at the small excavator?
Yes, I believe Mr. Nunes knows the homeowner next door, and we'll talk to them about taking down their fence, not making any changes, just taking some screws off, removing the fence, getting the machinery in there, getting it back out, and putting the fence back once work is complete. So it should be good as far as equipment getting into the backyard.
So that's where I leave. I brought, like I said, I'm just bringing this back to the council for approval.
So I assume because Mr. Nunes is under contract with us and does work for us, his name doesn't need to appear on this agenda. He's just sort of doing a repair for the sewer.
He already has a
just wanna
service
make sure-
contract.
Correct. So
Yes.
that we don't have an open meetings issue because
No.
of that.
Not at all.
Dave, I agree with you with this. I mean, this has come before us on both the subcommittee and the sewer commission for many, many months. And it'd be nice to get everything put to bed. I just like to see the contract that I'm sure it'd be Tim that would be drawing it up just to make sure we're only visiting this once and never again.
And again,
just so we can
Yeah.
sign
and
off
also-
on that first.
Yes, and also I'd like to have Tim draw that up, and both residents will meet with us at town hall under COVID guidelines, and we'll sit down, discuss it, sign it. In that way there, the town at the end of all this is not responsible for the line. And it'll be the homeowner's response for it. And then we can, like I said, if we, from here on out, and Jeff, I know you're new, but we've got to make sure we're watching on what we're doing, working on private properties. And again, if we didn't do any work there, if we didn't go in there with the giant auger or whatever it was described as, the giant vibrator that vibrated every house on Providence Street, I wouldn't be at this point right now. But because we did the work there, I feel that we need to resolve the issue once and for all and go from there.
I'll keep that in mind, and I'll make sure we try our best not to go on private property in the future.
Mr. President, can I ask a question?
Sure.
If the council does approve this tonight, what time frame is everyone looking at to start this process and end it?
Well, let me ask you, how long would it take you to put that small little agreement together?
Well, it's not going to be that small because there's a lot of things that are going to be involved in that. Number one is just accessing the property. Secondly, any inadvertent damage to the property. Third, indemnification to the town. It's going to be very specific, and I'm also going to probably request and advise that this type of agreement be recorded in the land evidence record. So if anybody buys these properties in the future, they're going to see that this was done, and there's not going to be any other activity from the town. But is the town looking to get this done this week, next week, or what are we talking about?
Depending on the weather and the clear, I could say, and Jeff, I think they wanted to at least try to start working on it. They don't want to wait till early spring where it's mushy and they can't.
No. I'm asking, do you want to start this week or do you want to start next week? What are we talking about?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible, okay.
Is there a motion on the table and is there I mean, I know you've had a price from Rick based on his service contract, Rick Noons. Do we put a cap on that? Do we make sure that if he makes if he hits something that causes a problem, he's got to come back to us?
I would not,
This-
personally, I would not exceed $9,000. That's
Okay,
where I would say, I mean, he's at 76. I don't foresee
Okay.
him hitting anything, but I would say not to exceed $9,000.
then I will
I
make
would
a
suggest
motion that,
putting it in the form of the motion, again,
Yeah.
with the caveats and
make-
conditions.
I would make a motion that we approve the $9,000 expenditure to take care of that 150 feet of line and the laterals and backflow, not to exceed $9,000, with the understanding that a legal document needs to be drawn up prior to work commencing.
I second.
Move in second, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Councilman Licciardi,
Yes.
Councilman Messier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Williamson,
Yes,
Councilman D'Amico,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Okay, next we have the questionable December order complaint procedure and follow-up investigation.
I put this on the agenda. This kind of follows in suit why I made a motion to table the minutes of the last meeting. As the chairman of the sewer subcommittee and as one of the liaisons to the council, Councilwoman Williamson and I are probably more familiar with the wastewater treatment plant than the three of you guys. So my job, what I see is entailed is I'm bringing things back, items back, questions, concerns back to the sewer commission. So it's been brought to my attention that an order complaint came in late December. It was recorded to us that there was 0 order complaints. So I really couldn't get a straight answer when asking the question. The results go to DEM, which is a third party. We're approving the minutes, which the minutes say 0 odor complaints. So if there are 0, there are 0, and yes, everything's great. If there are 20 and there are 20, then there are 20 odor complaints. And I'm sure they're going to get rectified, they're going to get investigated, and the matter will be taken care of. But that also comes before us, and we vote on that. So as of right now, I still can't make heads or tails of if we had an odor complaint, if it came in, if it was recorded properly. I was told at the last subcommittee meeting by the superintendent that there are many new staff at the plant, which, again, if things aren't being recorded properly and the new staff raises more questions. My goal isn't to embarrass anybody tonight, but I really think we need to get to the bottom of what the procedure is, make sure everybody's aware of the procedure, if there was a complaint or not. And I'd like to see an investigation. I'm not looking at a criminal investigation here. I'm looking to do somebody to be the point person to find out what happened so we can put this all to bed. And then if there was a complaint, if complaints can be dismissed or not, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But if a complaint comes in, it comes in. And at this point, if a complaint did come in and a form did go out to DEM, then we just revise that form and do the right thing. So, Tim, I don't know if you'd be the person I'm asking. I don't know if this is a legal matter or not, but I think we need a point person to conduct an inquiry as to what happened.
Councilman, my
And I
suggestion,
don't know who that point person would be.
well, again, my suggestion would be is to start with your new assistant superintendent and your director of administration to get together all of the evidence that is in existence, whether it's phone calls, text messages, emails, etc., about the alleged incident or odor complaint, And then once they have been able to determine if any of that exists, determine what the next step is going to be. But I think because it's a wastewater treatment matter, I would keep it in the hands of the superintendent and the director of administration for now, and then see what their search entails.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I would think that Jeff and Christine could actually do an, and, find out if there was an odor complaint, if it was filed, where it's filed, where the records are usually kept, and then perhaps report that back to the subcommittee at the next meeting, Jason, unless you had some other idea.
I don't. And it's really puzzling because I think I would like to know all the procedures as well. Even though I don't work down there, neither do you or the commission. It's nice when things are being reported to us and spoken to that we kind of have a sense of relation to what's going on, rather than just voting on numbers.
So I guess that would make sense, that if maybe you guys could educate us at the next sewer subcommittee as to what the procedures are when an odor complaint comes in, just a very brief education as to what happens, and then the specifics about this particular case that happened at the end of December.
Jason, just to let you know, and I'll work with Jeff, Christine has been there, but there are some what we call SOPs, standard operating procedure. When certain things come in, it's not within the O&M manual, but it's certain procedures, like if an odor complaint comes in, how it gets logged in, when it gets logged in, and all of the particulars associated with that. So I guess what you're asking for is, and we'll focus first on the SOPs for odor complaints, how it's recorded, how it should be recorded, and we'll do two things. Look at how it's recorded now and how the SOP indicated it should be recorded. And then
Hopefully
go
one and
forward.
the same.
Yeah, and hopefully they're one and the same,
Yeah.
because we need to track this information, because odor
So Jim,
complaints.
is there a written procedure? Like if
There
I were to
should
go
be
down to the plant and say, how is this done? Could you point me to or somebody point me to a manual to say, okay, it's on page 15 at the bottom half of page 15.
That is something the superintendents do over time, or the assistants. I don't know all of the SOPs, but we can certainly look it up. I know there are SOPs for the odor control, because remember, this plant used to have a lot of odors back in the day, and wind direction to what time of day it was, and everything else was recorded on this sheet.
Okay.
So we could track it, we could find out where it goes. In the O&M manual, there are some SOPs, but we maybe should kind of memorialize it. We've had a number of transitions between superintendents, assistant superintendents, and maybe it's the time now to memorialize it better in an SOP booklet that the staff could use. And we'll look into that and put that together for you.
All right.
So if that could be on the next sewer subcommittee meeting, that would be great. Agenda.
We'll
Okay.
make sure of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll put that on there. You want that
Thank
one
you.
as the same, the SOP as a separate line item, and the odor control, what we're
Two
looking into
separate.
to find.
Those would be separate items.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we have the consent agenda. Resolved that the consent agenda having been posted, all matters having been referred to proper departments and being disposed of or awaiting recommendation, the same is hereby approved.
Actually, Christine,
Yes?
if you look at the sewer subcommittee minutes, the date and time says Thursday, January 7th, 2021. It should be February 4th, 2021, I believe.
I will have Candy change that.
And if there could be a note, as David just said, yes, I am absent. I was absent to avoid a quorum of council members at that. If that could be noted in the minutes, that would be terrific.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're
And I'll move the
welcome.
resolution.
Any other
Second,
comments on
as-
that? Go ahead, Mary Beth.
We're on the consent agenda.
Yeah, well, actually, John moved it. So I was just gonna second it
All in
as
favor?
amended.
Mhm.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, Christine.
You have to love Zoom. That next is public comment.
Public comment, any public comment on the sewer department? I don't see anybody raising their hand, so
I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
motion to adjourn, seconded. All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Ayes have it. 2-minute recess so Paula can get set up.
right.
Everybody's.
Good night,
stay safe.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Yep.
Good
Thank you.